Welcome back. My name is Alpha Mike 1, and today we're trying to find the most efficient way to find mechanical parts. Why are we doing this? Well, we want to make a mini bike, and in version 15.1, we need a workbench to craft the handlebars, the mini bike handlebars, and seat. And in order to make the workbench, we need 20 mechanical parts. And the problem I ran into is early game, I've got one well-worn wrench. So before this wrench runs out, I need to make sure that I have the 21 mechanical parts that I need, 20 for the workbench and 1 for the handlebars. But I'm going to need to be selective about what I use my wrench on. To do that, I'm going to need to figure out which items give me the most mechanical parts. So I'm going to run a series of tests, and that will mean laying down 5 of each item and then breaking them down with my wrench. And then we'll see which items give me the most mechanical parts. Now, with the testing done, let's take a look at the results. Starting with the car, I would have thought that would have been my best bet, but after running the test twice, I only got 2 mechanical parts out of 5 cars. So that's not going to be my go-to source for mechanical parts, but we're going to be breaking the cars down anyway because they're key components that we need. Like the engine and the battery, so any mechanical parts we get out of that guy are going to be a bonus. Air conditioning units were a great source. I got 9 out of 5, so we're looking at roughly 2 mechanical parts per. Shopping carts were also a great source. Again, we have to consider the loot that they can respawn, but for the 10 or roughly 2 per shopping cart that we're getting, I'm willing to sacrifice some of those early game. Gas pumps were a good source at 10, looking at 2 mechanical parts per pump. That's a good source. This one I'm probably not going to sacrifice a gas pump because that's going to respawn gas. Office chairs were a great source. We're looking at, in both tests, they gave me 8, so we're looking at just shy of 1 to 2 mechanical parts per chair. Unfortunately, these school desks didn't give me anything. Beds are not a good source for mechanical parts, but for short iron pipe, breaking down 5 of these is probably going to give you just about all the short iron pipe you're going to need for the game. In the previous version of the game, refrigerators were my go-to source for cable, but they're not a good source for mechanical parts. So I'm just going to leave them intact for the loot that they're going to respawn. The oven did a little better, but not much. We're looking at, out of 10 ovens, I got 5 parts, so we're looking at half a mechanical part per oven. That's really not going to be worth it to me early game. Beverage coolers were even worse. I got 0 out of that. Wall safe was a good source. We're looking at almost 2 parts per, but again, that's probably not something I'm going to break down. Plus, it's hard to break down. It takes a lot of wear and tear on the wrench. Filing cabinet was a great source. I'm willing to give up the loot that's going to spawn for the 7 mechanical parts out of 5 that I can get. On the wiki, it said that commercial toilets are a good source. That's not what I found. I broke down 5 of each of the types of toilets, and was lucky to get 1 out of 5 for 2 of the types, for the fancy toilet and the commercial toilet. A TV I was really hoping, but it gave me, bad news is it gave me no mechanical parts, but it's a really good source of electrical components. So that's something to keep in mind. And a gun safe was a really good source. I got 17 out of 5 on that one. So we're looking at, we'll go ahead and average it up to 20 and say that that's a good 4 per. Something to note, pay attention to the animation here. It's doing the striking motion rather than the wrenching motion. You need to break down that outer layer before you start breaking it down into its components. So use a pick rather than the wrench for that outer layer. And again, it's a great source for mechanical parts, but I don't see breaking down a gun safe. It's too much wear and tear on the wrench. Plus, I'm not going to give up the loot that's going to respawn. Metal gate was by far the best. I haven't found one in game yet. I've heard that you can find them, but I haven't seen it yet. But if we're looking at 5+ mechanical parts per, that's a pretty good source. Cash registers, none. Desks, none. They were only good for the metal. You could break them down. Side table was not any good. The pull top was a great source. We got 21 out of one test and 19 out of the other, so we're averaging about 4 parts per. The light pole and sink and the electrical box gave me none, so I'm not going to bother with them. I would have thought the control panel would have been a good source because that used to be a good source of cable, so I was hoping that would transfer over to the mechanical parts, but it was not. So to sum it up, my picks for the best suspects, the usual suspects, would be the AC unit and the shopping cart and the office chair and the filing cabinet and the pull top. If you're wondering where to find these pull tops, I've only found them in the backyards of the gas stations. You see it there. When I first came across these, I thought they were landmines or something. Turns out they're a great source of mechanical parts just laying there on the ground. Generally speaking, these stores are going to be your best sources for mechanical parts. My pick would be the Shamway Foods because of the 10 shopping carts. It also has 3 filing cabinets total. Filing cabinets you're going to find in almost every building in the game. Office buildings, apartment buildings, even the burnt out rubble buildings. You're going to find 1, maybe 2. And then don't forget to check the roofs. That's where you're going to find the AC units. They have anywhere from 1 to 2. The best source I've found is the movie theater because that has 4 AC units on top of it. Some of the houses have AC units in the backyard, on the ground along the backside of the house. So this Shamway Foods, I broke down the shopping carts and the filing cabinets and the AC units and got 27 mechanical parts just hitting that one Shamway Food. And then my other favorite spot would be the Shotgun Messiah. It has, I believe, 4 shopping carts, but it has 5 filing cabinets. There's 2 on that side, 2 on that side, and then 1 in the back room. And as far as office chairs, you're going to find those in any offices. You can find them in parking garages, and those little offices that they have in there, apartment buildings, power plants and water plants are a good source for office chairs. And then one last quick note on the wrench. I was a little concerned that I needed to, when you go to make the workbench, I was a little concerned that the wrench needed to have full durability. So I tested it and it does not. As you can see, this wrench is completely worn. And I can still use that. So if you only have 1 wrench and or 1 hammer, go ahead and use that up. Just remember not to scrap it because that's going to be a key component. That was everything I found. If you know of items that are great for mechanical parts, please leave a note in the comments so the rest of us can take advantage of that. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Alpha Mike 1. I'll see you next time.